Now speaking with Sean Ackerman, writer-director. What kind of doctor are you?
I'm in my child psychiatry residency. So, I finished medical school and I'm in my second year of residency.
What made you choose that?
I'm very involved with the autism community. I just really wanted to work with kids with autism, and the child psychiatrists tend to have the leadership roles in those communities.
Okay, and you grew up in Wilmette?
Yeah, I grew up in Wilmette, in the cage, as they call it.
Absolutely.
Chestnut, Ashland, Greenwood, Elmwood. Those are like those 4 brick streets. I don't know, when we were little, we called it the cage.
It's still called the cage.
It's still called the cage, all right.
I've watched both your movies. They're both really great, man.
Oh, thanks.
How did Straight Line end up happening?
So after film school, I realized pretty quickly that I did not want to be anything other than a director, and probably a writer-director. I got to thinking about, how many movies I wanted to make and what kind of movies, and I started thinking, maybe I had somewhere between 4 and 6 stories that I wanted to tell. And right after film school, I optioned a screenplay to a big studio in LA. And I did the thing where you go out to LA and you meet with famous people and, you meet with studio executives. And I had a terrible experience. I hated it.
What was so awful about it?
So first of all, I was pretty young and hopeful and idealistic. And I think I was really hopeful that people were going to help me make the movie I wanted to make. And I guess I soon realized that people, at least with the studio that I was involved in, were only interested in making the movies they wanted to make. And I guess sometimes the things that you read about in tabloid magazines as crazy things that people do in Hollywood, there are far crazier things that people do that don't wind up in those magazines.
To what are you referring?
I can't. So it sort of disillusioned me as to the filmmaking process of it, and made me want to go out and just do something away from that. And at the time, there wasn't really digital cameras.
Yeah, what'd you shoot Straight Line on?
The 3 stories are all shot on different formats. So one is shot on mini DV.
Sure, classic.
Yeah. And then one is shot on 16 millimeter, and then one is shot on 35 millimeter. Straight Line was an idea I had of a movie that I thought would get attention for the filmmaking process, but that could also be made on a very low budget.
Right.
So it was intentionally supposed to be a film festival calling card.
Sure.
I always set out when I make a movie with some very specific goals for the movie. And that movie, my goal was essentially to get into a good film festival so that I could gain a little bit of leverage, because I found when I went out to Hollywood before, I had no leverage just as a new film school grad.
Right.
So if I could get myself like a nice review in some trade magazine, that people would take me more seriously so I could make another movie for a little bit more money. That was my goal for Straight Line.
You play this festival circuit?
The big thing was just South by Southwest. Everybody knows about Sundance, obviously, but South by Southwest is definitely considered a top 5 North American festival, and many people would say it's the top 3 North American festival. So it was a big deal to get into that festival.
Yeah.
So we got a good review in Variety, and not everybody loves the movie, and there's definitely plenty of problems with the movie. I think I'm a terrible actor. But there's no professional actors. My mom is like the 3rd largest character in the movie, and she's never acted before. So, you're getting kind of desperate for talent. No offense to my mother, but when you have to, turn to your mom as your 3rd lead.
I love that, though.
But really, we couldn't fit anybody in the car. That was the thing with Straight Line, is that we had this Buick, and there's only so many seats in the Buick. You have to provide a crew and talent and equipment in this car, so everybody that was going to be acting also had to be crew.
How does Diary of Preston Plummer happen?
I sort of felt like I had my goals accomplished for the time being. I was in the process of applying to medical school. People always ask, would you walk away from medicine if you could just make movies? I think I could just make movies and make a decent living at it. I really love medicine, and in fact, I'm more happy in the hospital than I am on set.
Really?
Yeah, I love making movies, but in more of a compulsive way. Making movies is more of something I need to do. It's sort of more of a passion, but it doesn't make me happy and doesn't make the people around me happy. When you're on set, you're so stressed out and you're working so much at the time. People say that doctors are busy. I don't think it even comes close to how much stress a film director is put under during a shoot.
So medicine is your break from filmmaking. It's your vacation.
Medicine is very compatible with life. Filmmaking is not always compatible with life. Yeah, so I finished medical school, and during my last year of medical school was sort of casting the Diary of Preston Plummer.
How do you get, like, Rumor attached and Robert Loggia? How do you get all these people?
It's not easy because our budget was, like I said, $125,000. So you have to convince people you don't know that working really hard day and night for 2 months for someone they don't know is somehow going to benefit them. Oh, and you're not going to get paid hardly anything at all. So you have to convince somebody that that's like a good idea. Really, they have to fall in love with the script. And so the first person, we were just focusing on getting the lead cast. We just put out a casting call, essentially. Jane, my producer, just put out a casting call to all of the agencies, and Trevor was one of the people that showed up. He was just a really great fit immediately, and the work he's done, I mean, he was a child actor in a lot of big movies, but then kind of as soon as he got to make his own choices, he's been making really interesting choices since then and has done a lot of really good work. He is not a huge household name by any means, but because he has done so much good work, he is well known within the community of actors in Hollywood as being a good person to work with and someone that always turns in a good performance. So once we had him on board, people were like, oh, this is a real project now. And we then were able to get a little bit more interest from maybe people that were a little bit more well-known. Rumor was cast next. I think it was an opportunity for her to show that she could turn in a dramatic performance. Once we had those two, then things just kind of start snowballing from there. But really, everybody basically just decided to do the movie because they thought, well, we might not be making a lot of money on this movie, but at least this is an opportunity to do some good work.
Yeah. How long was your shoot?
20 days, I believe. It was really short.
Yeah, that's fast.
Super short. We shot a lot on digital, so that helped it move quickly. It was a really fast shoot. The actors and the crew were really essential in making it go fast. I mean, to ask your crew with like almost no resources to do these really long shots. We had very few lights, not a very good dolly. We had to jerry-rig a lot of things, and I just sort of liked the challenge of those long shots, but the actors really have to know their stuff. I credit the actors with allowing us to shoot quickly.
What's next? Are you going to do another picture?
Definitely, I think I'm going to take another few years off, focus on medicine. I'm writing a couple of things right now, and then over the course of the next couple of years, I'll see which one I like the most, and then in a few years, try and get it off the ground. I mean, my goal with the Diary of Preston Plummer was essentially to get it into a good film festival and then have it make money. I always want to progress in terms of what I'm allowed to do as a filmmaker, and if you can consistently show at decent film festivals and then make money with your movie, then the next time you get more resources and you can go bigger and tell higher stakes stories.